We begin the Gemara on Yud Gimel Amud Beis on the bottom of the Amud, 3 lines from the bottom where it says V'loi. We stopped right in the middle of an inyan. We had over here the halacha b'negei 2 saying Anenu. And when do you say Anenu? When a Yachid accepts upon himself to fast. So Rav Yehuda said that he says a separate bracha between Goyal Yisrael and Refeinu. And that the Gemara asked the question, could it be that you say a separate bracha for a Yachid? And then there was a Braisa that was brought, and in the Braisa made a distinction between a Yachid and a Tzibur. Regarding a Tzibur, it says that you say it separately, a 19th bracha, and regarding a Yachid, it said that you say it in Shemei Tefillah. And the Gemara is trying to figure out what means Yachid and what means Tzibur. And the Gemara said that l'chayre, when it says tzibur, it doesn't mean the tzibur that's fasting and the shliach tzibur that's saying the bracha for them, because regarding a tzibur, you don't say 19 brachas, you say 24 brachas. And so therefore the Gemara got into this discussion over here, do you actually say 24 brachas when the tzibur fasts? Now there are different time periods when the tzibur fasts. There's when the tzibur fasts the first time, then the second time, and then the third time. For the 3 fasts, then another 3 fasts, and then 7 fasts. So the Gemara now concluded that in the first time they fast, they don't say the 24 brachas. And even in the middle time, they also don't say the 24 brachas. It's only the last time that they say the 24 brachas. So on this last point, the Gemara asks, that is it true that the middle time, they don't say the 24 brachas like the first time? Fragt the Gemara, V'loi, do they not say the 24 brachas then? But we learned in the Braisa, Ein ben gimel shniyos l'sheva achreinis. There's no distinction between the 3 times that the tzibur fasts for the second time to the 7 fasts that they fast for the last time. Ella, the only difference is shebe'elu masriin, that the last time they blow with the shofar and v'noyel in the and they close the stores. That's all. That's the only difference. So what do you see from this? Ha l'chol devreyem. For everything else, zev v'zeh shavin. The last time they fast and the middle time they fast are the same. So which would mean that they do say 24 brachas like the last time that they fast. And if you'll answer for this, Hachanami, here we can say as well, like the Gemara said before, Tana v'shayir. The Tana is speaking about the differences, but it leaves out one. And it leaves out this difference of the 24 brachas and Shemona Esrei. So the Gemara, but you can't say that because v'ha'ein bein katani. It says clearly in this Braisa, there is no difference other than these things mentioned here. And that Lashon seems to be saying that there are no other differences. So the Gemara asks on this now and says, V'tizbere, could this be true? That only these two things mentioned here are the differences and there is no other? Ein bein dafke? Ein bein means this is it. There's nothing else that distinguishes. But v'hashir teva, there is something else that was left out in that Braisa, and that is the teva. That when they came to the 3rd time that they fasted 7 times, and they would daven, they would take out the teva, which is the Aron Kodesh, into the street, and they would daven in the street. In order to be ma'ared everybody, to do tshuva, it would be done in the street, and that distinction between the last time they fasted and the middle time was not mentioned. So we see that it doesn't mention everything, even though it says ein bein. Says the Gemara, im mishum teva lav shiurehu. Now the fact that they took out the teva into the street and it was not in the middle time, that's not mentioned. That's not something that the Braisa left out. And the reason is because mili the tzine katani. The Braisa is pointing out the differences regarding things that are more private. But mili the befarhesye loy katani, things that are being done in a public setting, taking out the teva into the street, that's not mentioned. Right, so in other words, the fact, those in Yanim that were mentioned before, Masriyin and Chav Dalet Brachas, that in the middle fast, that's something that's done in the Beis Medrash, so that's something that's not done in the middle fast, that's mentioned. But taking out the teva into the street, that's not mentioned, because that's public. So therefore, that there's no raya from the fact that that's being skipped, that the ein bein is lav dafke. So therefore, the Gemara is saying, we have a raya from here, that for the middle set of fasts, they would say the 24 brachas of Shemona Esrei. Ravashi says, Masnisa nami deke, I'll bring you a raya from the lashon of our mission that we learned before as well. Diktani, because in the Mishnah it says, regarding the 3rd set of fasts, Ma elu yiseides ala rishonis. What is the 3rd set of fasts more than the previous fasts? Ela shebe'elu, when it comes to the 3rd set of fasts, masriyin v'noyel nesachanuyis, they blow shofar and they close the stores. Aval b'chol devreyen, otherwise everything else zev v'zeh shavin. They're considered to be equal. So over here the Mishnah itself also says, saying, the distinction is only these 2 things, not anything else. So the Gemara goes through the same point again. Maybe the Mishnah is leaving out. It's leaving out this distinction regarding the 24 brachas of Shemoneh Esrei. But the Gemara says, V'hama elu katani. But the Mishnah says that it's only these. This is the difference, elu. And it sounds like nothing else. So again, the Gemara asks the same question. V'tizbere, could that be possible? Ma elu dafke, that it's only these things that distinguish between the previous fast and the last fast. V'hashir la teva, but the Mishnah leaves out the chiddush of the last fast that they took the teva out into the street. So the Gemara says that's not a question. And here the Gemara actually gives a different answer. Imishum teva, the fact that it leaves out this, that they took the teva out into the street, lav shiuruhu. The fact that that was left out is not something that the Tana was skipping, because mishum dekachashav la b'idach pirke. Because this is something that in the next Perek, in the beginning of the next Perek, in the Mishnah, there, the Tana is going to say it separately and befedish. There's going to be other details there, and there he's going to bring it up befedish. So therefore he doesn't bring it up here, because there's another Mishnah that discusses it. So that's not considered to be left out. So the Gemara says, if so, hashte, the asas lahachi, if you're answering that the reason why the Tana doesn't mention about bringing the teva out into the street, because there's a Mishnah later that will discuss it, so you could say the same thing regarding the 24 brachas of Shemoneh Esrei. Esrim va'arba nami, regarding the 24 brachas, lav shiuruhu. The fact that the Tana here does not point out that that's a distinction between the middle fasts and the last fast, that's not considered to be being left out. The Ketani law b'idach pirke, because in the next Perek, the Tana is going to say b'feidish b'negei to the last fast that you say 24 brachas, and therefore it's understood from that it's only by the last set of fasts, but not previously. Okay, so according to this conclusion in the Gemara here, it comes out that the 24 brachas is only said by the last set of fasts, but not earlier. So going back to the Braisa that was brought before, when it spoke about the difference between a Yachid and a Tzibur, over there, the Tzibur could mean the Tzibur Kipshutai, the Tzibur that is davening for the tiniest, and it's going on the middle fasts or the first fasts, that they don't say 24 brachas. They say the bracha of Aneinu, and they say it separately. Whereas the Yachid says it in Shemei Tefillah. So the Gemara concludes the sugya. Mai havi Allah. What is the actual final halacha regarding Aneinu when a Yachid says? The Gemara concludes the sugya and says, Mai havi Allah. So what's the final halacha regarding this question? Whether a Yachid that's saying the bracha of Aneinu, does he say it in the bracha of Shemei Tefillah, or does he say it separately in a bracha between Gal Yisrael and Rafa'enu? Amar Rav Shmuel bar Sasertoi, v'chein Amar Rav Chiya bar Ashi Amar Rav, ben Goyal l'Roife. He says it between the bracha of Gal Yisrael and Rafa'enu. V'Ravashi Amar Mishmei de Rabbi Yanai, berei de Rabbi Shmuel, b'Shemei Tefillah. He includes it in the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. And the Hilchase, the halacha is b'Shemei Tefillah, that it's said in the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. It's not said separately in the between Gal Yisrael and Rafa'enu. Like the meaning that we do today, that when we daven on a fast day, belachash, so every person for himself says it in the bracha of Shemei Tefillah, and the Shliach Tzibur says it in a separate bracha between Gal Yisrael and Rafa'enu. Another Indian the Gemara brings up in Negei to all these fasts. Tani Chade, in one Braisa we learned, Ubrais umenikais, pregnant women, nursing women, misanais barishainais, they fast by the first fasts, vei misanais bachrainis. By the last category of the fast, they don't fast. V'tanya edoch, in another Braisa we learned the exact opposite. Misanais bachrainis, they fast in the last set of fasts, vei misanais barishainais, they don't fast the first set of fasts. V'tanya edoch, and in a third Braisa yet we learned, ein misanais, they don't fast, loy barishainais, not in the first set of fasts, v'loy b'achreinis, and not in the last set of fasts. So how do we explain all these three brises? Amar Ravashi, so Ravashi says, Nekoit emtzaisa b'yotcha, you should take the middle fasts in your hands. In other words, you should explain that regarding the middle fasts, they don't fast. The first fast, again, let's do that again. Nekoit emtzaisa b'yotcha, take the middle fast and say that only regarding the middle fast, they do fasts. But the first and the last category of the fast, they don't. The mitarts and kulu, that will explain and answer all the brises. As Rashi here says, that when it comes to the first fast, because the tzara is not so great yet, so they don't fast. It comes to the last category of the fast, which are 7 fasts, so that's too much for these pregnant women or nursing women to fast. They don't fast that either. The middle set of fasts are the only fasts that they fast. So you understand all the brises. The first brisa, when it says that they fast barishainais and they don't fast ba'achrainis, so barishainais means the middle set of fasts. That they do fast. And the last one, the last set of fasts, they don't. And the same thing in the second brayso, where it said misanis ba'achronis ve'ei misanis b'rishonis. So over here, achronis means the second set of fast, the middle fast, that's what they fast, and they don't fast, but rishonis, the first set of fasts. And the last brayso is telling you they don't fast the first or the last set of fasts because they only fast the middle set of fasts. Going back to the Mishnah, Ma elu yiseires ala rishonos. What are the last set of fasts more? What do they do more than the first? Elu shebe'elu masriyin v'noilin chanuyos. That in these set of fasts, masriyin, and the Gemara here will now discuss exactly what masriyin means, and also noilin chanuyos, they close the stores. B'mai masriyin. So what does masriyin mean? Masriyin literally means they sound alarm. But how? Rav Yudah says b'shofros, they blow shofros. So as Rashi explains that they would blow shofros. There were the 6 brachas that they added in Shmei Nesra, in total 24 brachas, and for each one of these brachas they would blow 3 times, 3 etkiya, through etkiya, so that was 18 sounds that they blew with the shofar. That's what Rashi explains over here. There's a big discussion in Rishonim and Mefarshim b'nigei to this inyan that the Gemara says that they would blow on the fast with shofars. We learned in the last Masechta in Rosh Hashanah that in the Beis HaMikdash they would blow with chatzaitzris and with shofars. And over there it said that on Rosh Hashanah the main thing is the mitzvah with shofars. And on Tinius the mitzvah is with chatzaitzris. And it says over there that outside of the Beis HaMikdash on a fast day they blow only with chatzaitzris. So how could it say over here that you blow with shofars? There are many answers given to this. One of the answers that says is that that's only the time of the Beis HaMikdash. But after the Churban, if there are fasts, so you do blow with shofars. But Rav Yudah bereid Rav Shmuel bar Shilat mishmei de Rav Amar be'anenu. That when it says masriyin means that they say anenu. Now, what does this anenu refer to? So as Rashi here says, it does not refer to the bracha of anenu. Rather, it refers to the anenu that we say today at the end of the slichus, and we say the anenu in the schus of Avram, Yitzchak, and so on, and we say there are 18 anenus. That's what masriyin refers to, that they call out, they scream out to the Eibishter with these anenus. That's the machlokes here. So now they thought that the explanation of this machlokes is as follows. The one that says that masriyin refers to anenu, loy oma b'shofris. So he does not hold of anenu referring to blowing shofris. Mandama b'shofris, the one that says that anenu means blowing shofris, loy oma b'anenu. He disagrees with the pshat that it refers to anenu. Fragt the Gemara, but if so, Vatanya, we learned in the Braise, Ein Poichasin Misheva Tainiyas Alat Sibur, that there are no less in the last category of the fasts. So they don't fast less than 7 Tainiyas. Shebehen Yut Ches Hasrois. And over here, there are 18 Hasrois. What are these 18 Hasrois? So far, when it says 18 Hasrois, as Rashi explains, this could either mean the 18 sounds of shofar that they blow, or it could mean the 18 anenus that you say. But then the Braisa says, similar davar Yerichai. A sign for this is what happened in the city of Yerichai, that over there, when they came to conquer Eretz Yisrael, they blew with shofars, and then the walls of the city fell down and they were able to conquer Eretz Yisrael. So over here as well, we see the Braisa is clearly saying, so the Gemara explains, V'Yerichai shofars have. In the city of Yerichai, when they conquered the city of Yerichai, so it was with shofars. So this refutes the opinion that says that what does it mean when it says masriyin, that it only means saying anenu, not blowing shofars. So therefore the Gemara now changes our understanding of the machlokes. Ella, so rather b'shofars the kula almalei pligi the kari le'asra. Nobody argues that when it says the term masriyin in our Mishnah, it refers to blowing with shofars, like it clearly says in this Braisa here. Ki pligi, what is the argument? Ba'anenu. The argument is regarding saying anenu, whether saying anenu could also be referred to as masriyin. And that's not here in this Mishnah, but in other places in Shas, where it uses the term masriyin, whether there it could mean anenu. Mar saver, so one opinion is kari lasra, that even when you say anenu, you find that anenu is referred to as masriyin or asra. Mar saver, the other opinion is like kari lasra, that saying anenu is not referred to with the term of asra. That's a term that's used only for blowing shofar. Now, Lamandama Ba'anenu, the one that says that the term Masriyan is used for saying the 18 Anenus, Kolshkem B'Shayfris. Most definitely the term Masriyan, which again means just to sound alarm, so for sure it means blowing shofar. Lamandama B'Shayfris, the opinion that says that the term Masriyan means blowing shofar, Avul Ba'anenu Loi. The term Masriyan does not mean screaming and saying that the 18 Anenus. Frag the Gemara, but what Tanya, we learned in Abraisa, Vishar kol mine peronius, other kinds of punishments that Yidden are experiencing, Hamisarakshes that come upon them. Kogain chikoch, an illness of some kind of a rash that people have, that is spreading amongst everybody. Chagov, or there's grasshoppers that come and eat up the produce in the field. Zvuv, Yitzirav, Yetushin, various kinds of insects that come and bite people and is a big tzara. Shaluach nechashim v'akravim, or snakes and scorpions that are attacking people. Loihayu masriyin elo tzayikin. They were not masriyin, but they would only scream out to the Eibishter. So now what does masriyin in this braisa mean? So it uses the term tzayikin, and tzayikin means to scream out with your mouth to the Eibishter. So asra b'shayfris. So we understand that the term masriyin, asra, means to blow shayfer. And the braisa there is saying that in those situations you don't blow shayfer, but you just daven with your mouth. So we see over here that the term Masriyan means with shayfris. So the Gemara Tanoihi. So this inyan is a machlokes Tanoim. The Tanya, we learned in the Braise, al eilu Masriyan b'Shabbos. Regarding these situations, there could be Masriyan on Shabbos. Al ir shekifu gayis, a city that was surrounded with soldiers that are encircling the city. Oinor, or regarding a river that is overflowing, and it could come and swamp all the fields and houses. Val sfina metarefes b'yam, a boat that is in the ocean and is has the waves that can come and sink the boat. So regarding these, masriyan on Shabbos. In other words, masriyan over here means that you daven to the Eibishter. So what do we see here? What does masriyan mean? So the Gemara will explain in a moment what we see here masriyan means. Rabbi Yosi says le'ezra that masriyan is only for the purpose to be able to get help in a situation where people's life is in danger. Avaloi l'tzaike, but not to daven to the Eibishter. For that you can't be masriya on Shabbos. B'mai. So now what does masriyan in this braisa that's speaking about Shabbos mean? Ileime b'shayfres, is it speaking about blowing shayfres? That using shayfres to daven to the Eibishter with shayfres b'Shabbos mishari. Is it allowed for a person to use shayfres on Shabbos? The Tanakama would say that you can daven to the Eibishter with shayfres. Elalav ba'anenu. Most definitely, when it says here in this braisa masriyin, what does it mean? Masriyin means to daven anenu, and that's the machlokes here. Usually on Shabbos we don't daven anenu. The Tanakama says that in these situations you could daven anenu, and Rabbi Yosi says no, only if you're doing it for the purpose to get help. And v'kari lo asra, and here we see that the Tana of this braisa refers to the term masriyin as saying anenu. Shma mina, so we see that this Tana holds that the term masriyin could be used for anenu. So that's a machlokes whether the term masriyin that's used in other places, whether it also means shayfris or it could also mean saying anenu. Zakta Gemara b'shani de Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya. In the years of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya, which was, this is not Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, but this is a descendant of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Havet Saira, there was a situation where Yidden were in a tsar. So Gazar Tlas Esra Tainiyas, he decreed 13 Tainiyas that they should fast. And Veloyani, after those 13 Tainiyas, they were still not answered. Saval and Migzet Fei, so he was thinking to decree on the tzibur that they should fast even more. Amalei Ravami, so Ravami said to Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya, Harei Yomru, but they said that Ein matrichen es hatzibur yesem midai. You can't be matriach, you can't make it so difficult for people to have to fast so much. So he said about this that Rab Ami, when Rab Ami said this, the Ovid legarmeyu the Ovid, when he said this, that you shouldn't fast more, he was doing this for himself because he wasn't interested in fasting more. So therefore he said that you're not supposed to fast more. But really he wasn't right. That's Rashi's pshat in the Gemara. Other Rishonim though disagree and they say that it's not mistaver, that he would say something that's not true. And legarmeyu the Ovid means that this was his opinion, but we don't paskin this way. So Ella Achi Amar Rab Chia bar Abba Amar Rab Yechanan, that loishanu ela legishamim. This that we know that you don't fast more than these sets of fasts that are mentioned in the Mishnah. That's only regarding when there's rain held up. Aval l'sharmini peranius, regarding other bad situations that Yidden are in, misanen v'hoilchen, they could continue fasting ad she'yonim min hashamayim, until the Eibishter will answer them. Tanyanami Yachi, we learned in a Braisa as well. It says clearly, Kisha Amru Shalish, or Kisha Amru Sheva. When it says that you fast these categories of fasts, the first 2 times 3 fasts, and then you fast 7 fasts. Lo Amru Ela L'Gishamim. That's only regarding the rain. Aval L'Shar Mini Peranius. But when it comes to other punishments that Yidden are suffering, Misanen, V'Helchen, Achiyan, they could continue fasting until they'll be answered. So this is a clear Braisa that says that it's only regarding the rain. If so, so this Braisa should refute the opinion of Ravami. How could he say opposite of this Braisa? Ravami will answer you, Tanoi, this is a Machlokes Tanoi. The Tanya, because in the Braisa we learned Ein Geizerin Yoser Mishalish Esher Tanya Salat Tzibur, that we do not decree more than 13 fasts upon the Tzibur, Lefi She'ein Matrichenes At Tzibur Yoser Midai, because we can't be matriach, make it too difficult for people to fast so much. Divrei Rabbi, that's Rabbi's opinion. So what do we see here in Rabbi's opinion? That this is nothing to do with dafka regarding a rain that's being held up. We can't have the tzibur fast too much. However, Rab Shimon Gamliel says, Loi min Hashem uzeh. That's not the reason why they don't fast more. The reason is because the time for the rain in the beginning of the season, which is in Cheshvan time, once they fasted already, these set of fasts, so that rain of the Tkuf in the beginning of Cheshvan time has already passed. So therefore there's no point in them continuing to fast. So according to Rab Shimon Gamliel, this is only true regarding the fasts for the rain. But in any other situation that they're fasting for, then they continue fasting until they'll be answered. So the Gemara, Sholchule b'nei Ninvei l'Rebbe. The people of the city of Nineveh sent to ask the following question of Rebbe. Kagayin anon, like people like us. Da'afile betkufas Tammuz be'inan mitra. Even in the time period like Tammuz, we need rain. Okay, in that area, they needed rain even in the middle of the summer. So they had to daven and ask in Shmei Esrei v'sein talamata for rain. So heichi navet, what should we do? Ki yichidim daminan, are we considered to be like individuals that are davening for rain? Or we're considered to be like many. We're a whole city, many people together that need rain. And the Gemara explains what their question was. Are we like individuals? And therefore, like a yachid, anything that he needs privately, so in Shmei Esrei he can add his own bakasha where he includes it in the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. Or we're like many, and we say the same talamatar even in the summer in the bracha of Baruch Aleinu. Shalach lahu, so Rebbe answered them, Ki yechidim damisu, you're like individuals, ubishemei atfilah. And you say the bakasha of the same talamatar in the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. Meisvei, the Gemara asks from another Braisa where it says, Amar Rab Yehuda, Ei Masai, when do we have the Seder of the tiniest? That it said here in the Mishnah regarding the season that you fast 3 fasts and another 3 fasts and so on. When is this? Bishman Shashanim Kitiknon. When the years are the way it's supposed to be, you have the regular season the way it goes from the summer and the Nisan time it's harvest, and then in Cheshvan time they plant and so on, when things are the way they're supposed to be. And also Yisrael Shruyin Alat Masan, and Yidden are living all in Eretz Yisrael. Avol Bizman Hazeh, but now and today, when Yidden are not in Eretz Yisrael, so Hakay Lefi Hashanim, so everything goes according to the year, which means if it was a very hot year, so they might need more rain earlier and so on, so then they could fast, and the Seder of the fasts are not the same. And everything goes according to the place where the Yidden are living, how much rain they need there. And everything goes according to the time. Rashi takes out and Marsha says because it's the same like Hakay Lefi Hashanim. Amalei. So what do we see from here? So in this Braisa we see that when it comes to the Seder of the tiniest, so there is the way it is in Eretz Yisrael, but then in every other place you go according to the needs of that place. So the same thing should be regarding the same Talamatar. If the city of Nineveh in that place, that is their need as a public, they all need rain at that time, so shouldn't they be considered to be like a Rabbim that's different than in Eretz Yisrael, and they should say the same Talamatar in the bracha of Baruch Aleinu? Amalei. So he answered him, Masnita Ramis Alei the Rebbe. You're asking a question on Rebbe's opinion from a Braisa. Rebbe Tanahu Polig. Rebbe himself is a Tan, and he argues with this brisa. So, my Havi Allah, what's the final halacha regarding this question? Rav Nachman Omar bebirchas Hashanim. Rav Nachman says that people that are living in an area in the world that they need rain in the middle of the summer, they say the bracha in the bracha of birchas Hashanim, Baruch Aleinu. Rav Sheshes Sama b'Shemei Tefillah. Rav Sheshes says you say it, you include it in Shemei Tefillah. V'hilchase b'Shemei Tefillah. Final halacha is that you say it in the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. Similar, the Paiskim say regarding Mashav Ruach Hamayred Dageshem, that even in an area in the world that the winter is, when it's summer in Eretz Yisrael, it's winter there, and when it's winter in Eretz Yisrael, it's summer there, like let's say in Australia, so they don't say Mashav Ruach HaMered Geshem in the summer season, even though that's their time of winter. And if a person did say Mashav Ruach HaMered Geshem, then he's going to have to daven again. The Rebbe once mentioned it by a Fabrengen, that there's a svara that they should say Mashav Ruach HaMered Geshem, but B'Payel, the maskana of the Paiskim is that they don't. And even if they say the same Talamatar, it's a private bakasha that a person can say in Shemei Tefillah, but not in the Nusach HaTefillah and the regular Nusach of Baruch Aleinu. Going back to the Mishnah, it said, B'Sheni Matin Im Chashecha, that when they fast Thursday and Monday, so on a Monday they keep the stores closed and they open it a little bit before it comes dark, so people could buy food. V'chamishi, then on a Thursday, kol hayom, they keep it open all day, mipnei kavod HaShabbos, for the honor of Shabbos, so people could buy food for Shabbos. The question was asked, Heichi katani, how do you learn pshat in the Mishnah? The Beis on Monday, matanim chashecha, they open it when it becomes by the dark, when it comes dark. Ubehei kol hayom, and on a Thursday they open it a little bit. Also, only open it a little bit, mipnei kavod HaShabbos, for the kavod of Shabbos. So they open it all day, but only the same thing like mutton, like on a Monday. Or maybe the pshat of the Mishnah is b'sheni mutton, that on a Monday, so then they open it only a little bit, they don't open it fully, and they only open it towards evening. V'chamishi paischin kol hayom kulay. And on a Thursday, they keep the store completely open, not mutton, but paischin, completely open all day. Tashamas, the Gemara brings a clear brisa about this. The Tanya be learned b'sheni matan ad erev, that when it comes to a Monday and the fast day, so matan ad erev, they keep the store only a little bit open in the evening time, or according to another girsa, le'es erev, at evening time is when they open the store a little bit. Ubechamishi paischen kol hayom kulay. On a Thursday, they keep it completely open all day, mipnei kavod HaShabbos, for the honor of Shabbos. If the store has two doors, you keep one door open and one door closed. If there are benches in front of the store, so the store is not open directly to the street where people are walking, so right in front of the store there are these benches, so Pesach Kedarkai, he can keep the store open the way he always does all day, and he doesn't have to be concerned about this. So Rashi explains the point of why they would keep the store closed on a fast day was because since people are fasting, you don't want them to have the additional tsar of having the food open to them right there and to see all the food. So therefore they would only open it towards the evening for people to buy their food. But if you have those benches that are separating from the people that are walking in the streets, so then you can keep the store open all day. The Mishnah said, Avru Eilu v'lei nanu. If these days passed and they still were not answered, so mematim, b'masa matin, b'binyin, b'netiyah. They minimize in business, in building, and in planting. Tana and Abraisa we learned, b'binyin, when it says that you don't build, binyin shel simcha. It's a kind of building related to a simcha, to joy. Netiyah also means netiyah shel simcha, planting for joy. Ezeh binyan shel simcha. What's a binyan of a simcha? Zeh habayne beis chasnus lebnai. A person that's building a place to make a chuppah for a son. Ezui netiyah shel simcha. What's planting of joy? Zu zeh haniteya abavranki shel malachim. When you plant an abavranki for kings, what is this? So Rashi has two pshatim here. One pshat is that when a prince is born, so they would plant this tree, and then they would save it and keep it until he would be appointed as a king, and they would make a throne for him from this tree. Another pshat Rashi says is that they would plant a special tree for a king to be able to walk there for a shade. So this is a special tree that's connected to simcha, and therefore it can't be planted on in this time period. B'shila shalayim, it said in the Mishnah that you don't greet one another in this time. Tanarabanan, similar to Nabraisa, chaverim, The Talmidei Chachamim ein she'ila sha'alim beinayim. They don't greet one another in this time. Amei ha'aretz, the people that are Amei ha'aretz and are not aware of this, sheshayil, and they do greet you, machzirin lehem b'safer rafa. You respond to them very lightly, ubekayved roishim, with your head bent down. V'heim misatfim v'yoshvim kavelim. In this time period, they wrap themselves and they sit like mourners, or kimenudin, kibnei adam, hanezufim l'mokim, people that are been rejected by the Eibishter, ad she'irachmu aleim min hashamayim, until the Eibishter will have mercy upon them from heaven. Amar Rabbi Lazar said, Ein adam choshev rashoy lipol al panav. A prominent person that's davening is not allowed to throw his head down and daven in that way. Unless he knows that he's definitely going to be answered through davening in this way, like Yeshua ben Nun. So Rashi explains the reason is that a person that davens in this way, and then he's not going to be answered, so then he's going to embarrass himself. People are going to say, look, this person is not davening with proper kavanah, and therefore he's not being answered. So this is only, as Rashi here says, if this is bifnei atzibur. Publicly, a daven to make such a commotion in his davening, and people see then that he's not answered, so this makes a chil Hashem, or he embarrasses himself. Shanema, by Yeshua, it says that he was answered. Vayome Hashem Yeshua, kum locha, get up, lamazat tonefel al panecha, why are you falling on your face? And similar of Amar Rabbi Lazar, ein adam choshev rashoy lach gersak, a person is not allowed to wrap himself in sackcloth. Elam keinena ki Yehoram ben Achav. Only if he knows he's going to be answered like Yehoram ben Achav. Shanamar, as the pasuk says, vayihi kishmaya hamelech as divrei ha'isha. The king heard the conversation of the women that were speaking about eating the meat of their own children. Vayikras begadav, and he tore his garments, and v'huover ala chayme, and he passed through the wall. Vayara and he saw the people. V'hini asak al psare, and he was wearing sackcloth on his flesh. And then the Eibishter answered him, and it came rain. So only if you know you're going to be answered, then you can make such a commotion in public, and it won't be an embarrassment if you won't be answered. Rabbi Lazar also said, Loi hakoil b'kriyah. Not everybody, when they daven, they tear their garments. And v'lo yakol b'nefila, and not everybody, when they daven, throw down their face. Moshe v'Aaron b'nefila. Moshe and Aaron, we see when they daven, they threw down their face. Yeshua v'Kalev b'kriya. And Yeshua and Kalev tore their clothing. As we see the psukim that it says regarding what happened after the story of the Meraglim. Moshe v'Aaron b'nefila, d'chsev vayipol Moshe v'Aaron al paneim. Moshe and Aaron fell on their face. Yeshua v'Kalev b'kriya, Yeshua and Kalev tore their garments. D'chsev Yeshua ben Nun, v'Kalev ben Yefuneh, Kalev b'gdayim, they tore their garments. If it would say Yehoshua without a vav, connecting what Yeshua did to what Moshe and Aaron did, so then, like you said, then this would be true that Yeshua only tore their garments and they did not fall on their face. But Hashtu d'chsev v'Yeshua, now that it says, after it says Vayipol Moshe v'Aaron al pneim, it adds v'Yeshua, so havaha of it. So that means that Yeshua did both. Yeshua fell on their face and also tore his garments. So therefore, they did both together and it's not separate.